Economic recovery, the Prime Minister's taken aim at the Maritime Union and the blockages on the docks. And he said you're going to commission a productivity commission will review into the sclerosis on the ports. Given the ACCC's already sort of identified the problems, why do we need a PC report? Why can't you just act based on what the ACCC said? And could I just ask you a second question? We've just reported that your colleague Greg Hunt is about to announce his retirement from politics. Do you have any information on that or anything to say on that?
I'll wait to see the details about Greg Hunt's comments that you referred to. But Greg is, my closest friend in this place. I'm the godfather to his beautiful daughter Poppy, and he's the godfather to my daughter Gemma, and we are very, very dear friends, and he's been an outstanding health minister through this crisis. The fact that Australia has one of the lowest mortality rates in the world, and the fact that we have one of the highest vaccination rates in the world is in due no small part to the incredible work that all health professionals has done across Australia. But Greg, as the health minister during this once-in-a-century pandemic, has been absolutely outstanding. But I'll leave any further comments to see exactly what statements you're referring to. You raise a very important point about the efficiency on our ports, and I will be releasing, probably next week, Phil, the terms of reference on this PC report. The first thing to say is, during the pandemic, because of the health restrictions, we saw a substitution effect in consumption behaviour. So people couldn't go out to cafes and restaurants, couldn't take a holiday, couldn't stay at a hotel. So they moved their consumption from services to goods. We saw, for example, in the June quarter, a 9.9% increase in import volumes. And we've seen that right around the world. And this has started to put pressure on supply chains and on port activity. So much so that the ships are full, and prices in some cases have gone up 200 to 300% freight costs in some cases, and even higher in other costs. What the ACCC report, I think, did very effectively was it did shine a light on the productivity challenge in our ports. And it said 4 out of 5 Australian ports were in the bottom quartile of global ports for their efficiency. And there was more than 350 global ports that the World Bank report had initially assessed, which the Productivity Commission referenced. The other thing that the ACCC referenced, the other point the ACCC made was that the median time that a container spent on an Australian port was 3 times the median time a container spent on a Japanese port, more than double the median time spent by a container on the Chinese port, more than 50% the median time that a container spent on a New Zealand or a Singapore port. And so clearly there are issues in our ports. Where the Productivity Commission, I think, can really add value is it can do a whole of economy look at this, not just through a competition law lens. It can look at infrastructure access and rail access, for one. It can look at the container park space issues that's come up. It might look at some of the restrictive employment practices that are in place in some of our ports. So it can look at a whole range of issues, and it can give us an interim report before the middle of next year, and then obviously complete a larger report after that. So I think this is a really important issue that goes to Australia's competitiveness. It goes to the cost of goods for Australians, and certainly when it comes to industrial relations action, and I noticed there's a pause on that issue till the 10th of December, but we're watching it very closely because we don't want Australians to not get their presents for Christmas because of supply chain constraints and because of industrial action by our unions on our ports. The unions should not be allowed to hold up Australians getting their presents at Christmas.